Now today, I love getting stuff from Amazon. Another camera, and this one is pretty special. I hope we'll find out. Again, I'm always looking for what's on sale, and I happen to stumble upon from Amazon. This is a remote control Action Pro camera. So I always save the box in case it has to be returned. And by the way, they do accept the returns without any grumbling at all. Which makes me buy more stuff from Amazon. So I want to look at how this, see, I try to save the packaging too, but it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do that with this one. This doesn't look like that's going to happen. Anyway, the reason I bought this camera, it has one feature that I don't have on any of my other cameras, and it's a remote control, and I thought I have a real good use for that. It can take pictures by remote control. It's also a camera that I have one of, and it's worked well, the Lightdow, and it's got this little feature that I think is going to work out great for my uses, a remote control. Now, as I suggested, it's always a good idea to try to save the packaging. Don't destroy it and just rip it open like you're a gorilla doing a suitcase test. The reason being, Amazon is real good. Maybe other places are too, I don't know. Since I buy almost everything from Amazon, that's thanks to Chris, who got me actually suggested that I join Amazon Prime, and since then it's been all downhill. Thank you, Chris. Anyway, I wanted to make a couple of good points if you're getting into these cameras. And I've said before, these cameras aren't that much different. Some really are a little bit better, but they do have different features. And this is the reason I already have this camera. And when I bought it, it was, well, let me just think, 40 bucks. This one is 34 with the remote control. And it's got like, I guess this is like a channel changer. We're going to find out one way or another. So I'm going to spend part of the day today trying to test these things out. Now, another thing too, if you're really new to this case on a Lightdow can be really annoying, but it's a really good case. So first thing I always want to do, take the camera out, and there's that little, real carefully get that little plastic off. It's funny, these things, I call it, well, they call it on the internet unboxing when you get a product, whether it's a camera or whatever. And you want to, of course, try to keep that scratch-free and clean. The back always has a piece. And now once we put the battery in, and the battery goes in the bottom, these are all pretty similar. In fact, you need fingernails. The one thing I don't have is good fingernails. And I got to figure out if this is just going to be, sometime you need, the first couple times you do it, you need a little screwdriver, and you also need a little memory card. And so the camera is ready. The case for shooting motorcycle footage, which primarily that's what I do, I can peel off the little protective cover. And they make some of the cameras, in fact I see this one's already here. So I wanted to show this if you're setting up to do a motorcycle, or I guess a bicycle or a car, or I see guys riding around a park with these cameras on the roofs of their car and everything. Or this isn't, as I said before, this is not the one. They have one. Sometimes they give it to you. Sometimes they don't. I'm going to complain. They just gave me a spare one, but usually they give you one with a, well, again, we'll find out. These cameras, for 30 bucks, you don't get a lot of, it's always an adventure. Anyway, I wanted to see in this one, let's see. The last time I bought a $30 camera, I didn't get many accessories. Let's see what I get for $34. Woo! Oh, we got it. We got that. But anyway, the key is to keep looking on Amazon, and every time it seems like they get a newer model, they blow out the old ones for you know, a good price. These are always, they give you the accessories that I don't really need. Here's what you do need is the batteries. So the first thing I do is take the two batteries, if they give you two. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Don't need that. They give you a couple extra mounts. The mounts I just throw in a bucket till I need them. This is always handy to have. Again, and I always save the packaging because you never know when these cameras go bad. And sometimes you have them for a week and all of a sudden the screen goes crazy. But like I said, Amazon takes them back, so it's not a problem. Little directions, they always give you a little piece of microfiber. This is the thing I need to know. And you always get free zip ties. So anyway, now, in this particular one, for 34 bucks, you don't get a spare battery. You get one battery. So, but like I said, don't be amazed. Every camera has a different set of accessories. Anyway, I do have to charge the battery. I like to start with a freshly charged battery. That usually takes a half an hour or so. I'll have a cup of coffee. I got a couple other things to do, and I want a fresh battery, and then I want to go do a little camera test. So I lied. After charging the other battery, I realized that's the spare battery. Now, some of the cameras they don't have a battery in them. And it's real handy to leave this little tab out. I'll show a little trick. This one has to be charged, of course, but I wanted to show this. And you can snap this little cover on with the tab hanging out, just to make it easier to get the battery. Otherwise, you do this, and I'm afraid sometime you damage the camera. Now, in this case, what's annoying, the Lightdow has this little, you really need a long fingernail to get in there and get that out, but that's not something I'm really worried about right now. We're going to charge both of the batteries up before the test, and I always look around if there's any other thing different about these cameras. This looks exactly the same. Put the memory card in, and we're ready to fire it up. Now, this is a really critical thing. These cameras come with, they're sealed, of course, so you can use them underwater. But here's one of the things. One of the cameras I bought previously had this door that already had slots cut in it for sound. So it'll save me the job of drilling holes, and it'll look a lot nicer too. And what I need to do is get a, I don't know, I guess a little piece of wire. Push that pin out. I assume these are going to switch. Yeah, they look like they'll switch. But having this allows the sound, and I like to record the sound of the motor up. That's one of the primary things I like about shooting my own video. Again, because I haven't done this yet, what I need to do is just take an ordinary awl or a piece of wire, anything with a pin. This thing pushes right out. And you can see the little piece now that's sticking out. I don't have a good pair of pliers. You can tell I'm not Steven Spielberg when it comes to this stuff. Let's see if that'll push it out. I'll get rid of this. But that is a critical thing if you're doing anything where you want to hear the sound. You got to be able to get the sound. That it comes right out. That comes right off. This goes on. Let's see if it's our lucky day. One side has a knurl. It's that side. Oh, how convenient. They give you an extra pin. Well, that's convenient. Let's see if that's going to work. Let's see if they're interchangeable. That could be that they're not interchangeable. See, this is from a different brand of camera. Yeah, they're not interchangeable, so I got to drill holes before I do my test. Yep, not interchangeable, so shame on me. Okay, so what I'm going to have to do before I do my real test is drill some holes in here. So this is what I found as the best way to do this is use a step drill. And I have one in chuck already, and a low speed, and drill a hole very slowly. If you use a regular drill, a lot of times you can crack. This really doesn't drill its way through, it melts its way through. I guess anybody who worked in a machine shop would know that. You just watch the way it melts. But anyway, and I laid out where the try to make it symmetrical, a little bit nice, of course. And it's funny that these are not interchangeable. They look exactly the same until you go to shut the door. And what it is, I measured it. This pin is off by about a 64th of an inch. It's further out, so you can't shut the door. But they do give you this extra piece. So I'll have the sealed piece, and I'll have one with holes. Okay, so I got a 32 gigabyte memory card installed. And one thing I can always complain about, every one of the ones I've had, and I've had almost one of every brand for crying out loud, they are terrible. They're absolutely useless. They don't tell you anything you need. They tell you everything you don't need to know in 12 different languages. But luckily, as most people can figure out, there's an on-off button. Usually you have to hold it for a second or two. It comes up, it's in camera mode, or you can cycle through whatever you think the next thing is. Now once you're in video camera mode, which is basically what we want to have, as soon as I hit the top button, this light will start flashing. I don't know if this camera has a light on the front. No, it doesn't. And it doesn't have a light on the top either. It doesn't look like it anyway. So basically we have to look at this to tell if the camera is on or off. And of course, cycling through all the features and all the things, you can do that. And every camera's a little bit different. It's pointless to even make a video about it. But see, it's telling me the camera's off. Now, I want to mount this somewhere on the motorcycle where it's convenient. I don't have to lean over the handlebars, or when I'm shooting backwards, I have to turn around and stand on the handlebars or whatever. So by pressing that button, you can see what happens. We're in standby mode right now. And here we go, we're taking pictures. Now when I want to shut it off, so it looks like now what I have to do is just figure out where I want to mount this. They say you can mount it to your wrist. And by the way, the red button shoots pictures. You can mount it here. But I thought of another thing is I could mount the camera somewhere and leave it in standby mode so nobody even knew I was taking pictures. And you could be at a party where everybody's drunk and go click, 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 click. That'd be really funny. Since I don't drink, it's not a problem for me. But anyway, so the next thing is, and I'll do this, basically get this mounted. I think I'm going to put a piece of Velcro on it and mount it up on a tank bag. I'm not sure when we're going to be able to get a test day to actually shoot footage, but I can go outside and shoot in the backyard for a minute just to see what the quality of the footage is. Now I'm not sure this could have been any easier. I took the double-sided tape that you're supposed to put the thing on your helmet with, and by the way, to give you this lanyard, boy, I wouldn't trust. It's not the idea that this camera's only 35 bucks, it would fly off and you'd lose it. The problem is, if this fell off and hit the guy behind you in the nose, he'd have a bloody nose. But anyway, this I wanted to show this. I ride now all the time with my Valentine radar detector. It's a personal thing. The tank bag's magnetic. It drops on any of the bikes that I'm riding instantly. One wire plugs it in to the charging wire I normally use over the winter to charge your battery. I can keep all my extra stuff in here, and I even put the electric gloves in here. So this is kind of and it's a Chase Harper bag. Bob Navola was the one that turned me on to this brand, and it's proven to be just bulletproof. Useful beyond anything I could imagine. I really wonder why I never had one in the past. But anyway, and when you want to show your bike at a bike show, you just take it off, and so people don't think it's ugly. And when you're riding, you don't even know it's there. Beside the point, one of the things that's annoying is when I'd have this camera behind me, or down low, or off to the handlebars, because I have several mounts on every one of the bikes. But turning it on and off was a real issue. It got to be a problem. And you got gloves on and hitting these little buttons you'd never know, especially when it's in the glass case. You hit it, it didn't go on, it did go on, it didn't go on. It's so annoying. Now, this couldn't be any easier. You could be riding along and just, one cycles through it, now you're up on the screen. As soon as you see the screen, boom, you're recording video. I don't think it could get any better than that, any easier than that. And all that's left is to do, we got to get a riding day when we don't have to babysit and do a real world test. Shut the camera off. Couldn't be any better. Anyway, I hope this video gave you some information. And by the way, for 35 bucks, I would have paid 35 bucks just for that. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks for watching.